Hello, my name is Jason JROCK Houston, and tonight we're talking to the Ratt Tribute band Bodytalk, and you guys are based out of Los Angeles. Is that correct?
Yeah, LA, Orange County.
Okay, and now tonight we're talking with JJ, the drummer, and Jimmy Ray, the bass player. Now I don't know which one of you guys want to start off, but why don't we start the interview off by sharing with us how you guys first got into the music of Ratt?
Well, we both been a lot into the 80s rock scene for a long time.
Okay.
Jimmy grew up, he's got a pretty extensive background in being in production and running clubs.
Oh, okay, cool.
So he's been all in the scene for quite some time.
Oh, cool. Now, let me ask you guys, you know, a lot of people might be kind of interested in asking you why you made the decision to go around of a tribute band rather than being in a band where you would write and record your own original music.
Good question. Well, you know, we've been through that. We've both been involved in original bands in the past. You know, we pretty much didn't get to make a national mark, you know, back in the day. And thought we'd lend our talents to something we could have some fun with.
That's cool. Now,
it came our way, and we thought that was something interesting that we'd take on.
Now, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you guys is because, you know, a lot of times when you're in a tribute band, it helps to have a little niche, and I think the fact that you guys are a Ratt tribute band is a great thing, because I'm only aware of like one other Ratt tribute out here called Out of a Cellar. Why do you guys think, as popular as Ratt was back in the 80s, that there are not more Ratt tributes out there?
You know, I really don't know. I'm aware of one on the East Coast. I'm aware of the Out of the Cellar girls as well.
Oh, okay, okay.
You know, I don't think there's too many guys that have balls enough to put on makeup and wear spandex.
Yeah. And now, you know, you make the point there that, you know, Ratt is one of those bands where, you know, even Stephen Pearcy is described. He likes to call it fashion rock, I've heard, and you know, and that's partly because, you know, the music is a very important part, but the look is just as, you know, important. And you know, when I'm looking on you guys' Facebook page, you know, you guys, you've really got the look down as far as, you know, looking like the real guys. How important was that for you guys when you put the band together to, you know, really look the part?
Well, it's very important for us. We wanted to match the era-correct instruments, so all of us play Jackson Charvel guitars. They're all from the 80s. We try to even try to match colors of the guitars to what we see. We've looked over photographs and albums of the different stages of Ratt, and that's what we're eventually leading to, is where throughout the show we'll go through one or two costume changes, and we'll start off as early Ratt in 83 to 85 with bright color outfits and the scarves and the spandex pants and the Zodiac boots, and then we'll move into 1990 Ratt, where the leather look, and Bobby bleached his hair blonde and is not a black or brown haired guy on drums anymore. But pretty much matching the instruments, trying to match the sound. Jay also got his drums just to match the same color as Bobby, so it was very important. But the moves also, we wanted to make sure that the moves of each person on stage pretty much matched what Ratt does on stage. So myself being Juan, I noticed the 9 moves that Juan does on the bass, and I try to get through as many of those through the set as possible while working around the guitar.
Yeah, you know, you make a very good point there. You know, I never actually thought about, but if you stop and think about it, Ratt is one of those bands. If you just look at you know, some of the music videos, they're very choreographed in what they do. You know, down to the music videos, even down to a lot of the stage moves. So let me ask you guys, you know, from a time you put the band together to time you actually did your very first show, you must have spent a lot of hours looking at these videos and, you know, going online and just checking out actual performances, trying to get the look and everything down.
Yeah, I spent a lot of research, Jason. I spent a lot of hours. But it's been fun. I spent a lot of fun researching the band. You know, we've read the books, we've read Stephen's book, you know, to get a better read on, you know, how things were back in the day for them.
Yeah.
And then I also know, you know, Juan is Puerto Rican. He lived in New York. He moved there as a kid. The schools he went to, it's a little bit, it's more of a stage show, a theater show, than just being in a cover band playing the music
of
another band. So that is kind of what differentiates us between the other bands, because we try to have the moves, the guitars, the look, and also, I don't know if you know, Jason, but the announcements and everything that we say in our set is geared towards 1985.
Yeah, you know, you make a very good point there too, because you know, a lot of the diehard Ratt fans, you know, they love the period, you know, like 81 to 91. I mean, a lot of that album, you know, the Greatest Hits album, that's the set list that Ratt actually performs these days when they go on concert. Now, with that being said, do you guys ever throw anything off of like the 99 Ratt album or Collage or any of that material that came after?
No, we haven't really got that later in their years, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, but that's going to be our third set, Jason. We've got the first set together to 81 through 85. We have the later songs developed. Win Some, Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. We've got some of the music from the late 80s, and then we're going to get into the other stage. So that'll be the three stages of our show: the glam stage, the leather stage, and then pretty much the current stage of the later albums.
Now, let me ask you guys, being Ratt fans yourself, I was kind of curious. The current state of Ratt is kind of up in there, where Stephen has once again left the band due to a lot of the band infighting and stuff.
Right.
Now, as fans yourself, do you think they should call it a day unless the original guys can get their act together and just keep the band together?
Yeah, I'm really for, you know, the original people in the band. You know, and as much as they've been on and off, you know, I think it might be time to call it a day, but, you know, you just never know with rock bands.
Yeah,
we thought Van Halen was finished, and look where they came back.
So currently, right now, there's a website that is allowing people to take Ratt's music, live music. They delete the vocals and they sing. So there's an online advertisement for a new lead singer for Ratt, and that's how they're doing it. And I have some copies of the auditions for the Ratt lineup. But the other thing too is they've also mentioned that Juan may not be in the current band. Because it's just Warren, Carlos, and Bobby. And they're not mentioning Juan being a member of this next unit. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, really interesting. Now, when they came back with their last album, Infestation, what did you guys think of that album?
I think that was one of the best albums they did. It was the most cohesive album. Really no dead songs on the whole album, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Now, talking a little bit about your guys' musical background, JJ, I was curious, why did you pick the drums as, you know, your instrument of choice?
Well, I've been drumming since I was very young. My parents were entertainers, so I was around music pretty much all my life.
Okay, and
basically I was a hyper kid and liked to beat on shit.
And how old were you when you first started playing the drums, and did you take lessons, or would you consider yourself more of a self-taught guy?
Yeah, I took lessons in my early days. I've pretty much been playing since 5 years old.
Okay, and I guess now, Jimmy, I'd have the same question for you. Why did you pick the bass as your instrument, and how long have you been playing for?
I've been playing for since the 70s. I'm pretty much a blues guitarist, but the style that I have of playing the bass, I never played with a pick.
Oh, okay.
I assign each of my 4 fingers that I pick with, and so those are assigned to each individual strings on the fourth, and then also on the neck, I assign each one. So I'm picking with all four fingers, much like a finger picker on a guitar while I'm playing. So I'm playing a lot of chords, and I'm playing a lot of accents on my bass that are uncommon and almost impossible for someone to do with a pick. But it's really the style. So in the guitar world, I was a small fish I was a big fish in a small pond, but opposite. But playing bass, there's not many people who have the finger picking style that I have.
Okay, and now I was curious, how long has your band Bodytalk actually been together? Because up until the other night when I first contacted you guys, I was kind of searching for bands to interview, and I came across your ad you had up on the Facebook tribute site. I never heard of you guys before that. So, are you a relatively new band?
Well, that's an interesting question, Jason. This band, well, I'll let Jimmy start with this one.
The band's been together for 2 years.
Okay.
We wanted to perfect our show. So we auditioned through 13 guitar players, and we picked the 7th and the 13th to be our guitarists.
Wow.
Two vocalists. And it was really the development of the band. It started off as just kind of a copy band 2 years ago, and then we started to think about, well, let's try to look the part, and then it got to let's try to act the part, and then it was, well, let's try to get the gear that's the era right gear. So it was a search for instruments, and then the development of the announcements during the show. That's been more recent. So 2 years of putting together what has just come out in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about the development and auditioning those players. I mean, how did you get the guys that are ultimately in the band? Was it just a process of advertising over internet, or people send you their videotapes? What was the process for that?
All of the above, buddy.
And so you're not at the point where you got the lineup you want together, and you guys have done your first show, I guess. So what was that like when you did that very first show? I mean, did it come off as good as you'd hoped it would?
Yeah, it really did.
Better, yeah.
Yeah, but there was a big difference between the first show and the second show. The first show, we concentrated on all of the moves, the announcements, and it looked a little mechanical. But the second show, everything flowed. So the movements on stage, the interaction between players, with the placements of where we should be, where we shouldn't be during parts of the song, seemed a lot more natural during the second.
Wow, and so and part of the reason I want you guys to know that I started interviewing guys like you that play in these tribute bands is because there's a huge misconception, you may or may not know. A lot of people are under the impression, guys that play in tribute bands, they're failed musicians, they couldn't make it doing their own thing. But I've had a real positive experience. All the tribute shows I've been to, I've seen all the hard work that goes into pulling off a show like this. And like you're making the point earlier, the difference between a cover band and what you guys do is, a cover band is, first of all, maybe a band that gets up in just their jeans and t-shirts and they play maybe a Tom Petty song, maybe they'll throw in a Bon Jovi song or whatever. Where you guys are paying the ultimate tribute. You're, like you said, you're looking the part, your costumes, even down to what kind of guitars you're playing and everything. And that's the ultimate tribute to me. And that's again, when I'm going to go pay money to go see a show, I want to be entertained, and I'd rather see you guys dressing the part and take me back to the day when Ratt was 81 to 85, like you were saying, and they were a big part of my life, as opposed to guys in just jeans and t-shirts jumping up on stage.
Yeah, we tried to add a little bit of the Alice Cooper type theater in it with actually something to watch.
Yeah, and do you guys ever throw any of the stuff like from the EP in there?
Say again?
you know that the Ratt EP, the one that preceded Out of a Cellar. Do you guys ever play any of that stuff?
Yeah, we're touching on a couple of those. We do Insane off that album.
And as fans as you know, because Ratt, if you listen, you know, Ratt's got you know, various different sounds. I mean, they've got their pop period. They've got, you know, like really commercial stuff, and then if you go back to that EP, they've got really you know, some of their tunes are really, really heavy, almost, you know, metal. You guys prefer playing the poppier stuff or what?
Yeah, man, I like a little bit of all of it. You know, there's some good variety. And as far as my drumming, I get into a lot of different styles with them. You know, you take a song. Looking at my list here. Take a song like Way Cool Jr.
Yeah.
You know, it's got that throwback kind of bluesy sound to it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's a very different style tunes for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things like that are fun to play.
Yeah. Now obviously the band is named Bodytalk, and that's kind of that was one of his singles off of Dancing Undercover. It was in the Eddie Murphy movie Golden Child. I was kind of interested why you chose that song to name the band after.
You want to take this one, Jim?
Yeah, it was a song that was exciting. It's exciting to play. It's our most fast-paced song. A lot of double beat drumming on that tune. But the name gave us a lot to work with the designing of the band. Body Talk invokes the sexual inclination, and we were able to use dancing type girls, and during our step we're saying stuff with bare the breast, throw up the bra, so to speak, and it actually matches our name as Body Talk a lot.
Wow, well, that's cool. Body Talk, you know, you hear that name and it could lead you to, you know, think all kind of, you know, innuendos like you were saying, or Body Talk, what's that? But again,
everybody's heard of the body shop in LA, so Body Talk's not far from it.
Yeah, and you know, speaking about that, you know, Body Talk, while it was a single, it's one of those tunes that might not be as well known as, say, like Round and Rounder, you know, Wanted Man or something like that. And that's the cool thing about what you guys do too, because you know, playing these songs, of course, everyone has heard Round and Round, you know, a million times or whatever, but you know, there are cuts, like you said, like Heads I Win, You Lose, but everybody's not aware of it, and you get to you know, make these people aware of some of the lesser known songs.
Yes, a lot of people, and that's what we're doing right now, is we're intermixing the songs, because we haven't developed the 3 stages, but 2 or 3 stages. Now, when we get to that point, we will only be playing 81 through 85, 85 through 90, and then 90 on, so to speak. But right now, it kind of answers the previous question too. We're able to intermix these songs where we have a popular song that pretty much lay it down and say a lot of people have heard, and then we'll play Give Yourself Away, or something that a lot of people haven't heard, and then we'll play something that they have heard, and then we'll play something they haven't heard, and then 2 things that they have, and that's kind of how we're intermixing the songs in our set currently.
Yeah, you know, just the other night too, interestingly enough, I interviewed this guy, his name is Vince Thrill, he's from this Arizona Motley Crue tribute band called Public Enemy No. 1, and he was telling me that their drummer is actually Bobby Blotzer's son.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's kind of...
I heard that. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, we've heard rumors, but it's only rumors, and that's it.
Yeah.
We've heard rumors that Ratt's aware of who we are, and we've heard that they could show up on occasion in our next few shows, one by one, and sit in for a song or 2. So that's something that they're also really famous for. I've seen a couple members of Ratt come up with different bands that I've gone to see in a club, and they bring them up on stage. So it's not very far and not out of the question that one of the original members of Ratt will be playing with us soon for a song or two.
How cool would that be now? I mean, to be playing a set and have Warren or Bobby in the audience. And
we just hope we've got a video camera going when it happens.
Well,
That's my only pride is that we're not recording, no one's recording any video when someone comes out to play with us, but we invite them to come up and play a song or two with us anytime.
Well, you know, in this day and age of social media, you know, you're almost guaranteed that somebody in the audience is, you know, going to be taping when you guys are on stage, having their phones or whatever. You know, on that note, I got to ask, does that ever bother you when you know, you're up on stage performing and everybody's, you know, filming you guys as you're performing?
No, I say more the merrier. You know, it's all free advertising, Jason. So
yeah, that's,
you know, we welcome it.
That's the cool thing about this, and you know, being that you guys are a tribute band, you know, are you at all amazed at, you know, the fan base that you've built in this little bit of time, you know, doing this? I mean, you must have people coming on your Facebook page, you know, daily, just leaving comments, and that must kind of you know, trip you out to think, you know, we're just a tribute band, and people are coming on here and saying hello and letting us know what they think of the band.
Yeah, we had 100 likes in 3 days of our Facebook posting from just the pictures that we posted without ever playing a gig, any music being put out or anything. Just the picture, people saw that, hey, these guys are trying to look like Ratt. The original picture was taken. The idea was, I came up with the idea of where do rats run? They run in alleys, they're in trash cans, they're in sewers. Where are rats? So that was a big part of where we wanted to take our first picture. And if you look at the background of the picture, it's in it's in a power plant and a lot of dirt and grass and things around, and that's where rats would possibly run. And so that's where our picture came from.
Yeah, and I got to tell you guys, you know, those photos are really professional looking, and I think they really serve a purpose that you intend for them to do. Like you're saying, when I seen those, you know, I never heard of the band Bodytalk. I was on the Facebook tribute page. I seen your guys' ad. I thought, oh man, how cool is that? A Ratt tribute band. I got to see if these guys would want to, you know, talk to me about their band. And I look at just looking at the photos, and I thought, man, these guys, you know, they really look like Ratt back in the day. And again, you know, you guys are a tribute band. You're not the actual band, but you really look the part, and again, just looking at the photos, they're real professional looking, in that it doesn't look like you just you know, had your kid brother take the photos, if you know what I mean. They look like they're professionally shot, and I think to have any kind of success with a band like this, you know, that's the length you got to go to you know, get the word out about the band, make people take notice, if you will.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And so, just like you said, since you know, announced the next show and that, you seem to be getting a lot of feedback from people then?
Yeah, we're doing the next show in Shamrocks and Chino Hills, December 13th. Come on out. Be a big Christmas extravaganza. We welcome you to hold your Christmas parties out there.
And let me ask you now, as far as you know, your band Bodytalk, you guys are obviously paying tribute to Ratt, and you guys are obviously Ratt fans yourself. But when you're up there performing these songs, I got to ask you, you know, are you trying to sound, you know, in your case, JJ, are you trying to sound you know, play exactly like Bobby Blotzer, or do you try to put your own you know, own personality into the songs, if you know what I mean?
I try to stay pretty true to them, except if I've had a little bit too much tequila.
Yeah.
I take a few liberties. But, yeah, you know, we're trying to keep it tried and true, and as close as possible to the original. I think I do a few extra double bass licks in there, just because I like to do them. It adds a little enhancement, but other than that, yeah, we did pretty true to the original.
And do you guys do you guys each like throw solos into the show, or do you just kind of just play the songs from, you know, a full concert?
No, we lead the songs into each other. So the first 3 songs, it's like one long song. As soon as the last note of the first song, the other guitarist will start into the next song, and then as soon as the end of that next song, then we start right into the next song, and then after 3 songs is when we take our first actual break to say anything over the microphone. So, the songs are intertwined together, and so we do have a set list that we go by throughout the practice. But that was another interesting thing that, a few months ago, before we were going to do our first show, we had to do mock shows. So, all right, so we're going to pretend like we're actually doing the show with all the moves. Let's do the announcements. Let's do the things. Let's talk to the people. Let's, do it like, it was no surprise when we did our first show that it went off well, but it looked, like I said, I thought it looked a little mechanical. So we've gotten past that.
Yeah, well, like you said, you guys, the last 2 years you've been developing the project, and you're kind of getting all the kinks out. Now you're at the point where more people just need to find out about the band and go and see you guys play. So, like, in the next year, how many shows do you guys hope to do? Have you given any thought to that?
No, we haven't. We're trying to work up to different gigs. We'd like to enter the casino market as soon as possible. A lot of tributes are doing well in the casino market, so we're looking at that as a goal before the end of the year, or by next year.
And then I'd also like to get on some type of a tour of Japan, a tribute tour of Japan or something like that, where we can actually see a different country and be able to play this music. You also have to think that we're currently playing music of a defunct band.
Yeah.
And of course that isn't until recently, but it's actually we felt helped us out, so to speak, as we're the only place where you can hear their music right now.
Yeah, which is it's kind of an interesting point when you think about it, because all the guys in Ratt, if they never they decide to just pack it in and never play again, they're set for life. But at the same time, a band like you getting together and going out there and playing the tunes, you're helping to keep the Ratt legacy alive, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. It's not like an AC/DC tribute when AC/DC is still playing concerts, or any of these other tribute bands where you have a choice in one night of going to the Forum to see the real band, or going to JoJo's Club to see the cover band. Again, the only place you currently can hear Ratt music is through us, and that's why we think that it's not a far cry that we'll be seeing some original Ratt members coming up to play with us in this next 6 months.
Yeah, and a lot of my experience with the tribute scene, one thing I really think is cool is the various tribute bands. There seems to be a real kinship, a real fraternity among the bands, where they, instead of competing with one another, they seem to try to help each other out. Even to the point of like, hey, we need a band to open for our show next week. You guys want to come down and play with us? And I've seen things like that go on, and I think that's really cool that bands do that.
Yeah, the thing that we, as you're hearing, that we think things through a little bit further than most people, we only want to team up with, or we prefer to team up with the people that Ratt has played in concert with.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah.
So Ratt, Van Halen, Ratt, and Def Leppard, whoever Ratt played with are the tributes that we want to play with.
Okay. Now let me ask you on that note, like, you guys currently self-managing and booking all the shows yourself, or do you have somebody helping you with that?
Yeah, we have a company called Limelight Entertainment who books some tribute bands who are helping us right now.
Okay, so is that how you've been getting some of these gigs, like the one coming up in Chino? You guys are playing with the Dokken tribute. Another one I've never heard of before, back for Attack. But like Ratt and Dokken right there. That's a great bill right there.
That's a killer Hollywood '80s show, man.
Yeah, and you're making the point about how you like to go to Japan. Ratt was always huge in Japan, so that would be that'd be a totally cool thing. And that's not something that's really think that you can't achieve, because I mean, the tribute scene out here in LA where we're from, is huge. I mean, take a band like Iron Maiden's. It's an all-female tribute to Iron Maiden, but they've taken their show worldwide. They've been not just in the LA area, but they've been worldwide.
Absolutely.
And that just shows you, if you get the right group of players together, the success you could have doing a tribute thing would just, kind of boggles the mind when you think about it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome where the tribute team's gone.
Yeah, and so on that note, like, so this management company or this booking company you're working with, right now they're the ones that are pretty much helping you get all these shows, right?
Yes, correct.
Oh, that's cool. So, have you guys tried to like even go online and just reach out to other tribute bands and let them know, hey, I'm in a Ratt Tribute band. This is our band's name, and maybe we can do something down the line. Or you pretty much having this booking company help you with that?
No, we've been networking with some other tribute bands. I have quite a few friends in different tribute bands, so we're hoping to be out and about with them coming here in the next year. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to see where you guys take this in the next year. Because again, like, it's kind of interesting to learn you've been developing it for the last 2 years, and now you're kind of getting it off the ground. Because I was just totally amazed. Oh, Bodytalk. Oh, I've never heard of this band. But again, if anybody goes on your Facebook page, just everything, whole presentation, I found to be really professional. So I think you guys are really on the way, and hopefully people will come out and see it. So but next show you said
invite everybody out.
Yeah. So next show you said is in Chino Hills, and do you think that'll be the last show for this year, or do you know?
That'll pretty much be it, unless we get a great offer for New Year's.
Yeah. Okay. And now, let me ask you, because being in this band, even though you guys are a tribute band, this must be a great way to keep your musical chops up. As far as are you guys at the point where you got these tunes pretty well down, where you don't have to rehearse that much, or do you guys still regularly get together and rehearse?
Yeah, we're regularly getting together because the show's going to evolve. The talking between the songs is going to evolve. So there's always new things to do, obviously new songs to learn. We're in a learning mode with 3 or 4 new songs right now to add to the set. So, we need to rehearse. We try to rehearse a couple times a month. Okay. And, I was going to ask you guys, as Ratt, us all being Ratt fans, Ratt was, they always had the hits, and their albums always, back in the 80s were big sellers. But why do you think it's a band that never really got the same recognition, say, like a Motley Crue or something like that? Yeah, I don't know. It may have been, a lot of the falling in and out with Robin.
Yeah.
That set them back numerous times. That could have been a big part of it.
Yeah.
And back then you had a hodgepodge of bands, though. You had Warrant, you had LA Guns, you had Mickey Ratt up from San Diego.
Yeah.
You had, there were so many bands in the area that, if you really think back, Poison wasn't, of course, Poison was from Pennsylvania, and they came out here to live on the Sunset Strip, but they weren't very popular, and Ratt wasn't. They were just about neck and neck.
Yeah.
Warrant, Poison, Ratt, they were all, you wouldn't say a B band, but that's kind of where they were in comparison. So you had these offshoot bands. Now, if Ratt had come up with the Harley Davidsons on Sunset and the Bodytalk, and if crazy drummer like Tommy Lee was, then they would have been that band. But so the reason why Motley Crue came up is because they had a shtick that had Harley Davidsons drinking and naked women, and they just did it, I think, a little bit better than Ratt did. So they came up to the forefront, and the Ratt show never developed into any show like what Motley Crue's did, with the flash pots going off, the girls coming up and singing in the background, and then Tommy Lee with his twirling drum kit up over the crowd. That was over the top. So if you have a production company that's willing to put that money into it and everything, the cream rises to the top because all the money's involved. So very possibly because of the Ratt album sales, the record companies just didn't want to put that much money behind them to be able to have that big production.
Yeah, you just made the point about, the cream rising to the top, and, that's my experience as well with a lot of these trippy bands is, a lot of them come and go. I mean, you got like a million AC/DC tributes, you got a million Led Zeppelin tributes, and the ones that ultimately last are, like you said, the ones that are, the ones that got, talent. It's more than just getting up on stage and, okay, we're going to play a bunch of AC/DC songs. Like in your guys' case, I haven't seen you perform, but I can say, just looking at you guys really take the time to do your homework. You got the look down at least. I can say that, and you guys have been putting the band together for 2 years before you even played your first gig. So that tells me, you guys have, you've really been honing your craft, if you will. So the fact that you've taken 2 years to get this thing rolling, that shows me that you guys are pretty serious about this.
Yeah, it was also trying to match the players, too. That took us a lot of time, the 13 guitar players that we went through took us probably a year to, as we would play for a few weeks with one or just go through auditions, and so just trying to find the right guys. And then it was, I think, with this particular lineup, it's been about 10 months or possibly 11 or 12 that we've been working actually on rehearsing the show.
So of everybody that's in the band now, I was curious, are these guys that you just met through the auditions, or had anybody in the band known each other previous to Bodytalk?
No, nobody. Well, the only people is myself and Jimmy sitting here. We played in bands back in the day, back in the 80s. We met in our first band.
Oh, cool.
And then we lost connection for about 20 years.
Well, that's an interesting story. And
a few years we met up.
So let's talk a little bit about. So you guys kind of we don't have to go all in the back history, but you guys played together a number of years ago, and then
1982.
And then you hadn't seen each other then for about 20 years. So how did you guys get back together?
He's mistaken. It was 30 years that we hadn't seen each other.
So tell a story at least about how you guys reconnected and got back together.
I started looking up people that I used to play with and live with and enjoy life with.
Okay.
After my daughter got to be old enough to move out, I just started looking into some people in my past and came across JJ's door one afternoon to say hello and reintroduce myself, so to speak. And since we had played together 30 years prior, when the opportunity came up with the original Ratt vocalist that we had, who proposed the idea of being a Ratt Tribute for us.
Wow.
He called me up and said, well, we played great together 30 years ago, so why don't you try out for the bass part? And we all met together October 7th, 2012. We originally, the first guitarist was a female guitarist.
Wow.
And, a guy who lived in Victorville. So for the first 3 or 4 months, we drove back and forth to Victorville for rehearsals. So it's been quite an evolution of this band just to get to this point.
So let me ask you then, Jimmy, when you guys first reconnected, because it seems like you guys are really the best of friends. Were you guys both surprised that that you were able to get along so well after not seeing each other for 30 years?
I'm going to answer that in a musical point of view because getting along with us has to do with the fingers that I put on my bass strings and how they correlate to his bass drums. So I wasn't surprised that we were able to lock in the pocket, as the term goes, and that is a big thing that we continue to do, is that those bass drums and all of the accents that he does are what my other 3 fingers are doing on the bass. So musically, it worked out good, but JJ's a real laid-back guy, and he's very likable and very, very low on drama. So I have nothing to there's no adverse point that could cause anything between us. So no, personally, we get along wonderfully. So it works musically and it works personally.
And I can tell just talking to both you guys that that's the one thing that is different from your band than the actual Ratt is. You know, they're always full on drama, it seems, as far as how the band members are getting along. But you guys seem to be the best of friends, and I would imagine, you know, getting back together after 30 years, that's what part of what must make it so much more fun. Whereas maybe 30 years ago when you were first playing together, trying to make it with your own original music, it's probably a lot more stressful and trying to really, you know, let's get a demo made and let's try to get a deal and all that. There's none of that with this, you know. It's just let's see how many shows we can book, and we got these tunes down, and let's put on the best show. So that must be a much more fun element to what you're doing these days.
Yeah, it's all fun these days.
Yeah.
So now back then, when we played together in the 80s, the gear was completely different. It hadn't evolved. I have a 1975 Ampeg V4B bass stack, and the bottom cabinet, the size of a big, huge SVT bottom, like a refrigerator, has a handle on the back. So it's a gargantuous system, and it was only pushing 100 watts.
Wow.
Big folded 215s. Currently, I have a Bergantino 850 watt cabinet, and I'm pushing 750 Mesa Boogie watts through that. So, just as the gear has changed over the years to where the sound is so much more pronounced than it was, because back in those days we still had analog. MIDI hadn't been invented yet, and they still made albums, buddy.
Yeah, hey, albums. What's that? I mean, a lot of you talk to a lot of young kids today. It's like record. What's that? Record store. You remember back in the day when you used to go and you know, check out all the new releases every Tuesday. I mean, like Tower Records. What was that?
I was a manager of Licorice Pizza.
Oh, there's another one. Music Plus. I mean, what happened to all those stores? I mean, wow. You know, people, I think.
Licorice Pizza ended up being Sam Goody.
Oh yeah.
But no, when cassettes died, 8-tracks got into cassettes. When cassettes died and all the tapes died and everything started going to DVDs and CDs. If you recall, they had a big packaging problem that they thought that the CDs were going to walk out of Tower Records by themselves. That's why they started putting the CDs in the extended packs but nevertheless, the equipment these days is so much more powerful with the big Ingle heads and different cabinets that are available. It's much easier to produce a very thick, solid sound versus 70s and 80s gear.
Yeah. Well, now the last thing before I let you guys go, I'd like to ask each one of you. This may be a hard thing to answer. Can you guys have like a favorite all-time Ratt album or song?
Well, I love the Essence Station album, but if you want to go back, a little later, I think Detonator was my favorite album.
Oh, okay, that's interesting, and that was I think that was the last thing Robin actually did with the band, and then that was the last of the original lineup. So, anyways, I'm going to do my best to come out to that show in Chino Hills in a few weeks, guys, and it's been a real pleasure talking to you, and I'd like to do this down the line again, maybe when you have some more free time in a couple of months, but just to see how the band's doing. But the interview should be posted in a week or so. The minute it goes up, I'll let you guys know. Is there anything else you'd like to say to all the people listening to this before we let you go?
No, we're good. We appreciate you having us on, Jason, and we look forward to seeing all the fans at the show.
Okay. Well, thanks again, guys, and do me a favor, just shoot me your email when you get a chance through a Facebook page, and I can send you a MP3 file of the interview we just did. So thanks again, and I promise I'll be in touch when the interview goes up.
Most definitely. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.